constructs to keep us all dumbed down and hope that they will never see the truth around. Another promise, another scene, another package lie to keep us trapped in greed. Another green bells wrapped around our minds, an endless red tape to keep the truth confined. They will not force us. They will stop degrading us. They will not control us. We will be victorious.
Hello, everybody. I am 8 days in with this wretched fucking cold, whatever it is. And I'm sorry. I tried like several nights to do a show last week, and poor Michael, he was, I had him booked and we had everything planned, and I'm like, I tried to go live and I couldn't
You
stop
really did. You
my
tried.
freaking brains out, and I'm like, oh Lord, I think we need to end the show. But that took me like 10 minutes to say between my cough. So I still got the hacks, and my voice is still fucked up, but it is better, believe it or not. It may not sound it. It's not the covert, as my dad says,
Go for
in
it.
in like genuinely says, like he's not joking. I'm like, Dad, he's 83 and he's hard of hearing. So he's like, did you take a covert test? I was like, Dad, it's not covert. I took a test. It's not covert. He's hilarious.
I love that.
Um, he's so funny. He makes me laugh inadvertently all the time. He's great. I do want to remind people, to my Pennsylvania peeps, tomorrow is primary day, but
Yes.
uncommitted. That's what we're doing. Uncommitted.
So that's an option for you guys.
I don't believe it's going to say the word uncommitted. I believe we have a write-in box.
Oh,
And
really?
what we
Okay.
can do, yeah, and then what we can do is put hashtag ceasefire now. So the most important thing is that you do not check the box for Biden. Don't. He's already the nominee, whether he gets 0 more votes or 1,000,000 more votes. He's already the Dem nominee. You don't need to vote for him. You don't. If you're going to vote for him in the general, that's your business. But right now, it doesn't matter. There is no reason why you cannot stand in solidarity with those of us saying, we demand ceasefire now, free Palestine. This is the least you can do. The least. So I don't care what, if you haven't gotten in the streets, whatever. I think all of us should be at this point, but whatever. This is a way you want to show solidarity. You want to tell Biden, who just gave more money to Israel 2 days ago,
Yeah.
mind you, just gave more, okay, without congressional approval several times. So you want to say, stop this shit. I don't care if you're a Dem. I don't care if you're a Republican. I'm an independent. I don't care. Do not check the box for him. Join us. Over 1 million people have voted uncommitted or left the ballot blank for president. They are noticing. They are talking about it in interviews. It is making them nervous. Good. The beauty of the word uncommitted means just that. We are not vote blue no matter who. You have to earn people's votes. This whole like, I'm not giving you anything to vote for. I'm giving you shit to vote against. No. You continue this genocide. So we are saying we are not committed. People are not committed to giving you their vote. Millions of us have been in the streets for almost 7 fucking months. So the least people could do, I'm going to say straight up, the least you could do is Pennsylvanians go tomorrow and don't fucking vote for him. Ceasefire now. It is the simplest thing. And like I said, he's already the nominee. It's not going to make a damn difference, but it will make a difference when it comes to free Palestine. So anyway, that's my rant. I'll probably do it again at the end of the fucking show.
All right.
So anyway, what is new on the, oh my God, I'm telling you guys, it is so difficult to pick only several topics to do each week. So much freaking happens. This guy, if you're on Twitter, oh my God, he's blowing up. He's a fucking mess.
University, act New York. That's your state. Bring in the National Guard. Make sure we are going to rid this country of terrorists and terrorist supporters. We believe in love. We believe in free speech, but we believe that enough is enough. We'll call on the governor, Kathy Hochul. You have the National Guard. You have terrorists.
Oh, okay, so he just said, we believe in love. And then he said, you have terrorists. So
Yeah.
that's love. That's calling people with free Palestine love. Then I just sent you a second video of this dumbass. Oh no, that's something else.
That's something
I
else.
don't know
This is
what
the
that
second part of that first tweet. We won't play that one.
Oh. Yeah, no, it's the last video. I DM'd you.
Yep.
It was an update. Yeah.
Is the COO of the university. Are we not letting the media in? What? Can you back up, please? My card has been deactivated? Why? Can you back up, please? Wait. Everybody, my card has been deactivated. This is Cass Holloway, the COO. This is Gerald Lewis. They were in the meeting where I asked them if Hamas is a terror organization, and they couldn't say that it is a terrorist organization. Why? I'm a professor. Why can't I?
Shai,
No. Speak out loud so the media
Shai,
can hear.
we are willing to take you to the Mathon.
No, I am a professor here.
Alumnus. We have a
Whoa, everybody quiet. I am a professor here. I have every right to be everywhere on campus. You cannot let people that support Hamas on campus and me, a professor, not go on campus. Let me in now.
Let us in.
No. Are you not letting a professor go on campus?
Let him in.
And you know that. No, you're gonna let me. No, you're gonna let me everywhere. You're gonna let me in any public space on campus, and you know this. If you are not allowed there, then you say that you're not allowed there. I am allowed there. And wait, no, listen to me now. You will listen to me. I rarely lose my. You know what? I wish you'd let me into my job. No, everybody, please. Can I stand here so people will see me? Is that okay, or you're not letting me do it?
This is a disgrace to the institution and the alumnus.
Everybody silence! Everybody! Over here we got the COO of Columbia University, Mr. Cass Holloway. Wait, no! They have deactivated my card. They are not letting me on campus because I have not just a civil right as a Jewish person to be on campus. I have a right as a professor employed by the university to be on campus. They deactivated my card. These are 5 lawsuits happening, but we don't want to sue. We just want to be Jewish in public. Let us say it.
I want to be Jewish and public.
I am a professor at the university.
All right. You're denying you entry. That's not us.
Are you denying me entry? Wait. Everybody, can I get this?
What I can't have, we can't have this blocking up here. Do the right thing and get this crowd back.
Everybody, whoa. Everybody, we are cooperating with the NYPD. Let's step back. If Mr. Holloway, the COO, is willing to make a comment to the media, I would love that. Everybody move back.
Please, ladies.
Okay, so the first thing I thought of when I watched this is, well, that's a temper tantrum. But the second thing I thought of was, let's not forget who trains the NYPD. Literally, the IDF trains the NYPD.
What
You
the
can
fuck?
look it up. It's a fact. And no fucking lie. Now, there's other police, sects across the United States as well. But NYPD is trained specifically by IDF. You
That's
can
so
find
weird.
it on places like Amnesty International. You can find articles. It is a fact. So that's the first thing that I thought of. Then you have this dude, and as a professor, does he have a right to be on campus? Okay. But what does it mean to be, I have a civil right because I'm Jewish to be on campus? I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, he made it weird with that part.
It was like, and he is one of the most insufferable people. And honestly, one of the reasons they probably locked him out is because he has been so hateful and stirring up so much just anger and,
Yep.
tension and everything on the campus. I mean, you saw he was calling them all terrorists.
I saw.
And, it is absolute insanity. If he loses his job, all hell will break loose. But I mean, honestly, he should, after calling, students terrorists who are not making threats. It's actually Israel who's terrorists because they're actually literally terrorists. But, it's really mind-blowing that he's having a temper tantrum and saying, bring in the National Guard. Are you fucking kidding me? And then they were giving the, the president of Colombia shit because they're a person of color. And it's like, but here's the thing. They've been literally expelling, not suspending, but expelling students because of protesting. So, and this is an Ivy League school. So you know how passionate these kids are, because this could change their trajectory of their entire life, being kicked out of an Ivy League school. But they are putting the importance on humanity and overriding this, which I just commend so much. I think it's amazing because, as we've seen, a lot of people were never activists before this at all. A lot of people were very much so never in the streets, never even spoke about, things that people could be pissed off about. And now they're waking up. This has changed a lot of people. And I think it's brave as fuck for them to be like, yep, I might get expelled. I might lose my scholarship. And dude was saying, why did you refuse to call them a terrorist organization? Well, they're not. They're not labeled as one. In the actual UN list of terrorist organizations, Hamas is not listed under that. So people could say they should, they shouldn't. I'm just telling you, they factually are not.
Yeah.
So, you know, whether you want them to or not, that's a different issue. They are not listed as one. So that could be where, you know, they were as far as not answering. I don't know. What's your take on that video and that guy's temper tantrum?
He seems like he's really playing it up on purpose. I don't know. And I really feel like there's another side to this story. Like, what has he been saying to people within the college or on the internet or whatever?
Oh, he's been saying some real fucked up shit on Twitter. Real fucked up shit.
I didn't look.
Which is stoking anger and fear. And, you know, honestly, when stuff like this happens, my biggest fear is that although, you know, the kids who started this had the best of intentions, I get so afraid that there is going to be one incident from one person who is just anti-Semitic or violent or hateful or something, and then they're given that fuel to cancel out all of these incredible people who are standing in to demand peace. You know, because that's what people like him do. They look for things. Look at this. Look at this. It's anti-Semitic. There are so many Jewish groups on the lawn at Columbia right now. I think I included a few of the signs in the DMs. Like, somebody actually posted a picture of this particular group from the side holding this sign for Jewish solidarity with Palestine, and posted a picture of it from the side and called them all anti-Semitic. They're Jewish, but that, you know, it works to their, you know, hey, it works if I turn the camera sideways. Now all you see is a bunch of anti-Semitic people marching. So,
yep.
You know, and we've seen this for so many years, the blatantly dishonest, you know, skew of information. So,
Totally.
you know, it's getting more and more crowded every single day, and good, absolutely good. Do I have any more on Columbia?
Yes. Today's
time. Yes. So
see.
they had a day of dance and song. So beautiful. Clearly Hamas. Clearly terrorists. Like, where are his posts about beautiful things like this? It doesn't fit his narrative. And the irony is, it's not even irony. It's just they have no critical thinking skills. And I had no idea he was a fucking professor. I knew he was at Columbia. I didn't know he was a fucking teacher.
Yeah.
That is scary. That is very, very scary. But, you know, like, we're pro-Palestinian because we are against violence. We are against imperialism. We are against harm. So to be like, oh, we're here because we support terrorism. No, that's people with Israeli flags. That's who supports terrorism. Like, nobody who would ever be violent truly supports Palestine, because that makes no fucking sense.
Totally. Do you want to talk about, we have 5 minutes before our guest comes in. Do you want to talk about this cannibal thing?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It is true. Don't even come at me. It is true. Look it up.
Let me just play this clip.
When D-Day occurred, when D-Day occurred, and on Sunday, the next day, my mother's 4 brothers all went down to the recruiting station and joined the military. Every one of them volunteered. And my uncle, they called him Ambrose Brosey, they called him Bosey. My uncle Bosey was a hell of an athlete.
We need a fact checker on this.
As a kid. And he became an Army Air Corps before the Air Force came along. He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones. And he got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the.
Oh no!
No. Well, anyway, you could pull up the article, because it says so. Basically, oh, can you get to that?
There were a lot of cannibals.
Hold on.
He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there used to be a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
All right.
I can't. I fucking can't. Like, dude literally got arrested with Nelson Mandela. He was in the civil rights movement. He got straight A's on his college papers, graduated with honors. He got endorsed by the NAACP. I mean, look, he has amazing stories. So obviously that's fucking true.
Let's hear this.
Biden saying that his uncle Bosey was eaten by cannibals.
So, you know, I answered this question yesterday. I believe I've seen some clips on your network about me answering this question. I don't have much to say beyond what I said to some of your colleagues. Look, I was there. I think you traveled with us too to Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if you were there at the memorial in Scranton. The president had a emotional and I think a symbolic moment. He had an opportunity as president to honor his uncle's service in uniform. He had an opportunity to be there as president to speak to the bravery of his uncle, and not just his uncle, but many U.S. service members that put their lives on the line on behalf of this country.
Why? And that was it.
That was, I mean, that clearly answers the question.
She said a lot of words.
She did. I mean, best press secretary ever.
She has a difficult job, and she's doing it poorly.
She has a very difficult job. But I mean, I think you were there. Maybe you weren't. It could have been one of your coworkers. He wanted to honor him by saying he was eaten by cannibals. How is that? He can't. Like I was saying before the break, I don't know if you guys remember, because if you're watching me, you're likely not shit libs. But like in like 2016 or so, Trump did made a post on Twitter that said Covfefe instead of coffee. It said like COVFEFE,
Yeah.
and they still talk about it. And it was just a mistype on Twitter. It was funny for like 5 minutes, and they still talk about it, and they don't care that this dude is fucking saying the craziest fucking shit
Out of his mouth.
like just out of his ass. Crazy. I think
All right.
our guest is in
guest
the
is here.
back.
I'll bring him in.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm all right, though. I'm really jealous that you I don't know if it's jealous is the right word, but you're bringing me in after that. Oh my, what a
You got a lot to live up to, okay? To those of you guys who haven't seen our guest on my show before, Mr. Michael Bagdis Canning, he ran for lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania under Green Party. And I was so excited to vote for him. And you know, you're just a decades-long activist and environmentalist, and you know, your trial was last Wednesday, and I was there, and there were like 30 of us at least, probably.
Yeah.
It was like almost 9 hours, I think we were there. But I mean, so first, Matt, can you show on the post I made? It says like the one I sent you, I think it says like 45 minutes in or something like that. The tweet.
Yep.
Yeah, down at the bottom.
You want me to go to that video?
Yes. And
Okay.
then it says something minutes in.
Sure.
This is our PA state capitol.
The planet died. You take pride. The planet died.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Polluters have got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Polluters have got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Polluters have got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Polluters have got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Polluters have got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Polluters have got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
We got kids here that want to buy our government! We are here to talk for a toxic cleanup!
Get your hands over there!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Polluters have got to go! Hey, hey!
For those watching, that was it's sanity. And just in case you guys didn't see that, that was a freaking senator in Pennsylvania who physically assaulted Michael, pushed him down. So can you explain the action, what it was, why you guys were there?
Sure. I'm part of a group called Pennsylvania Action on Climate, and we chose that name, PAC, because that's kind of what we're all about. We're at we were formed at the intersection of political corruption and bad climate policy, bad environmental policy, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so that's, yep, there's our webpage. So that's what we were formed about. And on January 31st of 2023, we heard about we heard about it ahead of time, but we had heard ahead of time about a fundraiser for State Senator Scott Martin. Now, he's not the guy that knocked me over. That was State Senator Mike Regan. But Senator Scott Martin is chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee in Pennsylvania. The Appropriations Committee does a lot of things as far as, where money goes, and he's got a lot of power. And this was a fundraiser, a $1,000 a plate fundraiser. And we decided, hey, let's force the encounter. Let's make him walk through people his constituents and others to collect this $1,000, because it's shameful that our government is controlled by special interests. So lobbyists pay $1,000. You could also sponsor it for $5,000. And if you look at the campaign finance reports, which I was hoping to bring up at my trial, he raked in a ton of money that day from all kinds of things, including groups like Energy Transfer Partners, which is a company that builds pipelines. You've probably heard of the Dakota Access Pipeline, where Standing Rock, that they're the ones behind that. So they dump money into his campaign, and he turns around and he does the bidding for him. So what we decided to do was, we called it a toxic cleanup. That's why I was wearing the hazmat suit. We decided to block the doors, and we did a pretty good job blocking the doors until Senator Regan decided to move me out of the way. So, yeah, that's what that was about.
And then you and I and a bunch of people did it again 2 months after that. And it was the same freaking restaurant. I want to say it was 50 minutes. It was a little over 45 minutes. We were able to block them from going into that fundraiser. It was amazing. And we all had our hazmat suits and everything. And it was so invigorating, because we were like, they're going to get in, but we could stop it for however long, and we could show them that we know and we're holding them accountable. Being in Harrisburg, my God, there are literally dozens of this shit like every freaking week. It's crazy.
Yeah, when they're in session, they spend more time going to these fundraisers than they probably do legislating, even though they're full-time legislators. They're paid handsomely. They've got lots of nice perks, but yeah. Yeah, that was actually the one you were at was Senator Mike Regan, the guy that pushed me over. We decided that, hey, since he was having so much fun getting the bribe the first time, we'd go to one of his fundraisers and make him at least deal with us again. Yeah.
I remember that one lady. I know she was a Republican rep in PA. She was like a petite lady. She had straight hair to here, and she started filming me because I was filming her and saying, why aren't you ashamed of yourself and stuff like that? And she started filming me, and I was like, hey. And she didn't like me because I was being like a total smart ass. But I was like, hey, I don't care if you film me. I'm not doing anything wrong. But yeah, it's so hilarious to see them throw temper tantrums and be like, there was that guy who was like, I'm a Teamster. And I was like, no, you're not, because you are going to a freaking, to $1,000 a plate fucking lobbyist thing. And he goes, I'm a guest of honor. And I was like, if that were the case, like, if he didn't have a Teamster jacket, anything like that, and there was a Teamster guy with us protesting, and he's like, no. Like, you're not one of us, dude. Like, you're not. Fuck you. Like, oh my God. Well, you were threatened because of blocking the door. Well, first of all, let's get to this. They said you could not file criminal charges against Mike Regan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if that's true. I probably wasn't persistent enough. That shouldn't be a thing where the police get to make that decision. But that wasn't what I was about anyway. I don't care. He didn't hurt me. I mean, I was already in pain that day. I had a bad back. It was difficult. That's why I had the cane, if you saw that. I wasn't even supposed to be doing what I was doing, but it's just worked out. But we did file charges, and the police officer actually, you exactly were. Yeah. The police officer that was with me, or not with me, was there on Wednesday of last week, he was the one that was doing all the talking, said, "Oh no, you can't press charges," because he was legally entitled to go to that event, and he showed me some statute that said that was so, and it probably was.
But I don't think that, that statute should supersede putting your hands on someone physically.
Yeah.
And I think the irony was only one other person got in when he did that to you. Everyone else was still stuck outside. So, like, what was it for? He got himself in and one other person for that. But the irony is you were threatened with a year in jail for blocking the door. So, and you're like, I don't care. But did you think you were going to get a year?
I really didn't. I mean, and again, to give you some background that maybe you weren't aware of, before the trial even happened, they jerked me around a lot. I had to go to Harrisburg 5 or 6 times, I think 6 times total, before I even got the trial. But on the week before, when we were doing there for jury selection, they offered me several different alternatives. They didn't really want this to go to trial. They offered me ARD, which is like, I can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically no record. You behave yourself and you're in good shape. They offered me that. They offered me a summary offense instead of the misdemeanor offense that I was charged with. And they even talked about dropping charges altogether. But I wanted my day in court. So one of the other interesting things that happened that day was when we actually got to the point where we were picking the jury, the prosecutor said to the jury, or asked them at the jury, "Are you going to be able to hear the testimony of State Senator Regan or State Senator Martin, and give them credibility that they deserve?" And then when it came time to do the trial, neither one of them showed up. And I have my suspicions because the day after jury selection, I sent in my discovery. We have to let the prosecution know what we're going to use. And I sent in the campaign finance reports for Senator Regan and the video of the campaign finance reports of Senator Martin and the video of Regan. And then all of a sudden those guys aren't on the stand. So I don't think they wanted them there either. So yeah.
No, it was like everyone, in the waiting room when we were waiting to go into court, they're like, "I can't wait to see Regan." And I'm like, you guys, they're not going to show up. They're not. There's no way in hell. What if something happened and I don't know, they got called to the stand because of a loophole or something? Like, no way. But I gotta say, and this is jumping ahead a little, I don't like the injustice system or anyone who works for them, but holy shit, that judge was amazing. Like, oh my God. He was, I really feel like he was a protester back in the 70s. Do you think?
I don't know. He's a former DA too. So
really?
Who knows?
Oh shit. Because he was like, look, you're on 90-day probation, so you've got to let your friends there do the protesting. In the meantime, I was like, yeah. he was, I think he was fair, and he had a good personality. And I think that was like, to people watching and maybe like, so who cares? But like, it matters when you're in a stressful situation, like a trial and stuff. It was funny though, because the prosecutor's side had 2 people, and one of them was a witness. So I don't know who the other one was, probably an assistant bootlicker or someone. But we had all the people on our side, which was freaking awesome. Was there, and you represented yourself.
Yeah, in many ways, that was a plan from the very beginning, because when you do represent yourself, you can get away with stuff that that a real attorney couldn't get away with, because you're a bumbling fool, which is, I learned a lot in this thing. I don't want to take anything away from my performance, but I learned a hell of a lot. So I did represent myself, and the judge was very helpful in that respect. He recognized that I was in over my head, and he helped me out some. He wasn't unfair to the prosecution, right, but he wasn't a prick to me either. So, which was really nice.
Explained things, you know what I mean? He was like, okay, Mr. Bagdis Cannon, you can't say that, but you can say it like this or something. Like he was very helpful. And the injustice system is all about who the judge is, who the jury is. Like when you were giving your, when you took the stand and things like that, did you think they were going to say guilty, not guilty? Were you looking at their, mannerisms?
The jury itself? Some of them look very sympathetic. Some of them wouldn't even look at me. There was a couple people there that I knew when push came to shove, I was going to be guilty with them anyway.
Right.
They looked angry, but
they just didn't want to be there.
Well, it could be they didn't want to be there, but I also know that, like, for instance, one of the people on the way out after the verdict was read, none of them looked at me on the way out, but this one guy on the way out gave a thumbs up to the cop. So, I don't know what to make of it, but I knew going in that I was probably, because they wouldn't let me make my necessity defense. They wouldn't even let me make it. We attempted to, even though they weren't allowing us, but we couldn't have any experts. We couldn't do some other things. And so I figured that I was going to be guilty. But I also didn't figure I was going to get off as easy as I did. I thought maybe a stiffer fine, maybe some probation, but that's not how it worked out. So that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, could you give everyone the update of what your actual sentence ended up being?
Yeah, so my sentence was a $200 fine. It was up to a year and $1,000, a year in jail and $1,000 fine. I got a $200 fine and 90 days of unsupervised probation. And that was it. There's going to be fees involved too. I haven't seen the paperwork yet, but they always tack on fees, which are usually more than the fine. So
right.
It'll be fun to see.
Well, that's also good that you represented yourself. What if
no lawyer fees.
What if they would have said, "Hey, guess what? You're going to jail for a month"?
Well, I was prepared for that. One of my friends who was at the trial, Andy, I don't know if you met Andy or not, but Andy spent 2 months in jail for not exact same thing, but he was actually charged with blocking a highway, which is what my charge was too. But he was blocking the Capitol Beltway in DC. But he spent 2 months in jail. So I knew there was a possibility. Andy and I talked about it ahead of time. I didn't think it was going to happen because it wouldn't look good. Old grandpa with a cane going to jail. I didn't think it was going to happen that way, but I was prepared for it. I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Your wife, Karen, is amazing. I couldn't read her during the trial. She seemed very calm. Was she glad with the outcome? Like, what were her thoughts?
Yeah. So one of the reasons I'm even in this stuff is because of Karen. I think I know I told the story on the stand. I didn't expect to break down when I was telling it, but I did. When we first knew we were going to become grandparents, that really impacted Karen a lot. And she said, we have to get involved. We have to make this world a better place for our grandkids. And yeah, so she is generally calm, but she's also, I would say, anxious. And so Karen isn't really involved in this stuff anymore because it was just so tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Both the whole idea of climate change, but also the whole idea of how our politicians are, period. You know,
Yeah.
it's depressing. So, yeah. So as far as how she was at the trial, yes, she was very, very calm. She was, I mean, we had talked about it ahead of time. What were the possibilities? So she was prepared for whatever too, but I'm so glad she was there because she was calm for me. I needed that. Yeah, she was amazing. Yep, absolutely.
You did great though. And let's talk about your witnesses. Michael Pollock, Rabbi Michael, he's a friend of the show. He's been on. Explain his testimony.
All right. Well, Michael and I have worked together quite a bit in the last several years around this whole idea of political corruption in Pennsylvania. So he was to be my expert on how corrupt politics is in Pennsylvania. But they didn't allow me to pull him in as an expert. So I pulled him in as actually a participant. And he was a participant in that action, but he wasn't actually on scene. But he was able to talk about how we planned the action and why we planned it. And as you know, and I hope some of your listeners, if you don't know, Michael is amazing. I mean, if you want to know anything about corruption in Pennsylvania, there's your go-to source. And he's also very personable and also very fearless. And so I would ask him a question and he would go on a riff about all kinds of corrupt things that happen in Pennsylvania. So that wasn't necessarily the question I asked, but he went there. And I can't remember what the one line he had said that was just so amazing, but basically calling our politicians crooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, they said to him, well, why didn't you go in and talk to him or something? And he's like, I couldn't afford it. Like,
yep, exactly. $1,000 plate. Yeah, we none of us could get in there to talk to him because none of us have $1,000 for lunch. Yeah, absolutely.
And that was one of the arguments the prosecutor said, where she said, the wait staff in the restaurant were scared. But of course, none of you saw anything of the like. But also she said, why didn't you go inside and talk to them and explain to them you weren't there to do anything nefarious? And, I just thought if I were scared, I would not want the person scaring me to come in to the building that I'm being, separated from right now. It made no sense. And she kept harping on, that you potentially lost business for her, lost wages for her. And the fact of the matter is, all those $1,000 tickets were already sold. So I'm not certain what wages, would have been lost. But she said, well, did you offer to pay for them? And stuff. It was grasping at straws. It really was.
Well, she was making the case, and I get it. She wanted the jury to convict me, and so you hit everything. You throw it up on the wall and hope it sticks.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say anything bad about the prosecutor either. She was doing her job. She wasn't friendly when she was being the prosecutor, but she was very helpful in other ways behind the scenes. So yeah, I mean, I don't like I love your line about injustice system because that's what we deal with. The prosecution's there to protect the oligarchs and the billionaires, whatever. Not necessarily because that's what she wants to do, but that's how the laws are written, and that's what her job is. So yeah. But yeah, Michael was amazing.
So you had a rabbi and a pastor.
I did. Yeah. Kevin Long, Reverend Kevin Long. He was at the action and he was passing out a flyer to all the folks, the politicians and the lobbyists who were there, saying, instead of buying $1,000 lunch here, why don't you go down the road to these 2 food banks and give your $1,000. It'll go a lot farther. But
Yeah.
I invited Kevin on to show that, we didn't just go there to raise a ruckus. We had a plan, and we weren't there to intimidate anybody. We were there to force the encounter, to make our politicians actually walk through us to get bribed.
Yeah, absolutely. Pennsylvania, and I'm not just saying that because I live here, but Pennsylvania really is one of the top states with corruption. It's truly incredible. If you want to learn more about Michael, and Matt, if you could put this link in the chat, he runs a group called March on Harrisburg. And you can learn so much about, the fact that Pennsylvania can take gifts as, bribes, things like that. And you've worked with them for years as well. So it's so important to, yeah, there it is. So it's so important to, to look into these groups and to join these actions, especially if you're in, a capital, like, and Michael's all the way in Pittsburgh area, and he came out you come out 4 hours to do these events. So it's pretty amazing. And actually a lot of people that I was talking to at your trial were from Pittsburgh, and they came out, which is amazing.
Yeah, we had people from Pittsburgh. We had people from Philadelphia. We had people from Harrisburg. We had my good friend Ellen from Baltimore,
Wow.
and we had Andy from near Baltimore, another person from Baltimore. We had another Ellen from Huntington County. Yeah, we had a lot of folks there from a lot of different places, and that's because corruption in Pennsylvania is a big deal, and Pennsylvania is also a place that's horrible around the climate. We produce some, I don't remember what the numbers are, like 5% or something of all greenhouse gases produced in the world are coming out of Pennsylvania. Yeah, we're awful. I don't know. I didn't see it, but I heard a little clip that our governor was on some Sunday show yesterday, talking about what a good job he's doing with Pennsylvania, and he mentioned these 2 hydrogen hubs, which are going to be located on both sides of Pennsylvania. I mean, the hubs themselves may not be there, but infrastructure will be. And these hydrogen hubs are supposed to be this good thing for the climate, because hydrogen doesn't burn any fossil fuels. Well, in order to make the hydrogen, unfortunately, they're gonna frack the heck out of Pennsylvania so that they can make the hydrogen. So yeah, we got this thing going on. Yep, there he is. Yeah, but yeah, we're corrupt and we're also dirty. So yeah, it needs to stop. Let me just go in another story that I think is just amazing. In the Pennsylvania Senate, we have several committees, and one of our committees is the Environmental Resources and Energy Committee, and that's chaired by Senator Gene Yaw. Senator Gene Yaw is from Williamsport, and he makes again, all of our legislators are full-time legislators. They get over $100,000 a year. But one of the other corrupt things that happens in Pennsylvania is our legislators can have side jobs. And Gene Yaw, who's chair of this committee that writes the laws for the oil and gas industry, works for the McCormick Law Group in Williamsport. The McCormick Law Group brags on its website that it works with the oil and gas industry. So, here's Gene Yaw. Not only is he getting bribes from all these fundraisers he goes to, but he also has this second job where he has an obvious conflict of interest. So it's hard to believe. But then again, Josh Shapiro, our governor, we had an action at his office a few weeks ago. Several of us went to deliver a study that we had done, and Josh Shapiro is filthy. He calls himself a climate hero, but he, among other things, he took $1,600 Super Bowl tickets so he could attend a fundraiser at the Super Bowl where he was getting wined and dined by the oil and gas industry, among others.
Yep.
And he's just done all kinds of crappy things about the environment. Last summer, August of last year, his Department of Health issued a study that was done by the University of Pittsburgh that said that fracking infrastructure, if kids live near fracking infrastructure, and we're talking like 10 miles for asthma, they are more apt to go to a emergency room with asthma. So life-threatening asthma attack. They are also 6 to 7 times more likely to end up with childhood leukemia, or not leukemia, lymphoma, and low birth weights. So he knows because his own health department told him this, that this is a life-threatening thing for a lot of people. And he's still pushing fracking in Pennsylvania. He's still pushing it because he's been bought,
And what the hell has he done for people in East Palestine? Because the people in Pennsylvania have been greatly affected as well. People in Darlington and areas like that. I mean, East Palestine is on the Pennsylvania border. So I have friends who are in Darlington, Pennsylvania, only 5 miles away from East Palestine, who have horrible medical issues, whose homes have been affected. I get sick every time I go there, even if I don't go in East Palestine itself. What the hell has he done? Not a damn thing. And he needs to answer to that. I really, 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 and I'm going to reach out to Michael about this. What are your thoughts on doing an action going to Shapiro about East Palestine? I think it's time. It's been over a year, and I think we need to show up at his office and protest and say, these people are still suffering. Nothing is being done, and East Palestine is being ignored, but Pennsylvania is being ignored even more. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, let me just say, keep May 8th in your head, because there's something planned. I won't say what. But also, let me say this about Shapiro. This past summer, it was actually last fall, I participated in this thing called Tour de Pack. We rode our bicycles from frontline community to frontline community across Pennsylvania. Our second day was spent in Monaca, which is in Beaver County. And Beaver County is home to, among other things, the fallout from East Palestine. That's where Darlington is. It's in Beaver County, and a lot of the people in Monaca. In fact, I live in the fallout zone from East Palestine. I mean, it got blown to me too, and I live pretty far away. But the people in Beaver County were impacted by that train derailment too. And I don't even want to call it. It was more than that. As you well know, the train derailed, but it wasn't the train derailment that was the problem. It was all the other stuff, the stuff the train was carrying, and how they decided to deal with it. But anyway, yeah. So we went from frontline community to frontline community. One of the communities we went to was, we heard from people from East Palestine when we were in Beaver County. But we also went to other communities, and we heard over and over and over again this whole idea that it's basically policy murder. Our legislators know that the stuff they're allowing is going to kill people.
Yes.
Including, So at the end of it, we were arriving at the climate convergence. And so we decided that we would go to Governor Shapiro's office to deliver our report of all the communities we went through, to tell them about the harms that are happening in all across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, from trash incinerators that cause cancers and asthma in Chester to East Palestine. That's from, the eastern part of the state all the way to the west. It's happening over and over. So we decided to go there. And this is what happens when you go to Governor Shapiro's office. You're greeted with an armed guard and a closed, locked door. You don't get to see the guy, even though he gives out his phone number and says, text me, I want to hear from you. don't go try and talk to him because he won't let you in. But
I
yeah,
know. I'm trying to think of how I could approach it. Like, I'm trying to think if I should write him as a journalist and say, can I have a comment? Or if I should ask for a meeting because I know he'll say no. And then he'll know who I am, which isn't good. So I want to just go up. I mean, shit. How many times did we protest Wolf? A buttload. A buttload. And we protested trash ass Fetterman. We have so many awful reps in our state for so many reasons. But you're gonna have to text me about May 8th. I don't know what's going on.
Definitely do that. I will definitely do that as soon as we're done here. I will. I'll give you a little heads up.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining again. I always love to have you here. What do you want to leave the audience with?
Well, one of the things you talked about, which I think is why we do what we do. And you talked about how empowering it was to be at that fundraiser and forcing the encounter. Not everyone is cut out to do that kind of stuff, to actually be in front of people. But if we're going to make real change in this world, we can't just keep doing the same old stuff. We actually have to force the encounter. We need to engage in nonviolent direct action. That it's not everything, but I think it's an important component. And if you'd like to hear more about that kind of stuff, I don't know where you're located. I mean, I know where you're located, Joy, but there are people all across the country that are doing this. Find them, hook up with them. You don't have to be arrested. You can be the stuff holder. That's one of the things that Michael did Michael Pollock did. Yes. He was a stuff holder. We need someone to hold stuff. We need moral witnesses. We need chanters. We need peacekeepers. We need all that stuff. But we need to engage in nonviolent direct action if we're going to make change. So let me leave you with that.
Yeah, and I always tell people too, if you can't make the event, make some signs, drop them off. Drop off a case of water. There's things you could do, absolutely, to still take part, or post about it on social media. That'll
absolutely
help.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, we need researchers. If that's your thing, yes. If you like digging through paperwork, then we don't want to be loud and wrong. We want to be loud and right. So we need people that are good with research. We need all that stuff. So get involved. Let's overturn this apple cart.
Hell yes. Do you want to leave people with your website, your Twitter, all that fun stuff?
I wish. Look up PennsylvaniaActionOnClimate.org. I think it is. Just reach out there you go. Yep. Yeah. Reach out that way. We have a contact thing. If you want to talk to me personally, I am on Twitter. I don't know what my thing is, but look it up.
At Bagdis Canning.
It might be. Sure. Yeah, I don't remember.
But I tagged. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I did tag him on tonight's promo, so you can also click there.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to folks about this stuff. Anything. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to Matt on the back end. Thank you so much for watching. Matt, what do you think about all that?
It's pretty epic. It's pretty inspiring. I want to take more actions. Let's do it.
Yes. And as far as Matt's been with me in EP 4 times.
Yeah. When are we going back?
Oh, I don't know, man, but I got some shit that's about to come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that work.
Hell yeah. So you guys, like I said in the beginning, tomorrow is voting day for Pennsylvania. Do not vote for Biden. Uncommitted, write in #ceasefire now. Whatever, don't vote for Biden. If you're going to do it in November, that's your business, but he's already the nominee. You don't need to do that shit. You don't need to do it anyway. But anyway, don't do it tomorrow. Stand with Palestine. Stand with those of us who are demanding a permanent and lasting, immediate ceasefire. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I created a Rumble. I do want to start live streaming on that. So please subscribe. It is free. I've gotten some questions about how much it costs. It's free. It's just another platform, but they don't screw you over like YouTube. And this will probably get taken down because I said that. Likely. But thank you all again so much for watching. Thank you, Matt. And thanks, you,
Mike.
Michael.
Oh, and happy birthday, Christina.
Oh, happy birthday, Christina.
Love you, Christina.
Yes, we love you.
All right. Good night, everyone.